Thank you, Nate, for your request for a swing analysis. You're a young member of my profession, and I'm particularly pleased to try and help. Now, you didn't get that competency so that you could join the profession without a great deal of natural skill and hard work. And golf is a game of consequences, so I approach the idea of making any sort of recommendations about changes, knowing that you've got features that are codependent, and you've built them up to the point where you're good enough to play par golf, remarkably good. So bear in mind that if you change the things I'm about to talk about, it will take a little time. The things that catch my eye are these. Most notably is obviously the thing that I'm sure I'm not the only person to have noticed, which is that you've got a somewhat unconventional follow through where everything spins around to the point where your body is aiming 45 degrees to the left of the target rather than to any degree facing it. Now, that isn't some quirk of your build. It's a function of the mechanics. And you have to spin that way because it's all you've got as a consequence of the things I'm going to list. You have a relatively what they call weak grip. That means that the hands are turned slightly to the left. And you roll the club in such a way on the backswing that at the top of the swing, your knuckles of your left hand are folded subtly back toward where a wristwatch would be. They call this cuppy. And that means that the club face is open. Now, generally, it's not severe in your case. The face almost looks like it's paralleling the left forearm, but the net result of those two things, combined with a couple of others that I'm going to get to, are that you have to work to get the club square in time. Now, by itself, that wouldn't be terrible, but because of the things I'm about to mention, it all adds up to forcing you to build your swing the way you've done. What are those things? You stand relatively conventionally at address, although I think a little too close to the ball. And as you swing back, you straighten out your right leg. That's a function of that distance from the ball issue. And you also keep your body very vertical. In fact, it starts vertical and it really never moves from that position. Combine it with the fact that you shift the entirety of your weight over to the left, and you have reason. You're now in a position where you have to hit early because that shift of your body and your weight to the left is now delivering a down blow. You can't flight the ball correctly unless you uncock the wrist early and adopt a fairly weak grip and roll the club face open on the backswing. So you're sort of locked into that, and I don't know which one came first. So you're leaning this way with your head. You're having to hit early. You adopt a grip that makes that work, but it comes with a cost because then you have to spin out. And if you happen to miss time it, you'll hook. And occasionally, of course, you'll correct for the hook and slice. So here's what we do about it. I would suggest that you grip with both hands turned to the right. Now that's going to make you hook, I get it, but let's see if we can then teach you to hit late. But it starts with the posture. I would suggest that you stand a half an inch farther away and lower and keep in that shape. Don't straighten this leg up. And start also with your left shoulder higher by half an inch nearer the ball, even if the club appears to be slightly open, and with your tailbone a half an inch nearer to your left heel. And stay in that position as you swing back. It'll feel like a more shallow swing, and your subtle angle that we've just created with your body should be maintained all through the swing until long after the ball is gone. As a consequence of that stronger grip, you're in a position where you now not only can hit late, but you'd better, otherwise you'll hook. And so the late hit is simply keeping the wrist hinged on the downswing and keeping the right elbow underneath the left one. Not physically possible, but that's how it feels. And only straightening the wrist in the last moment of the downswing. And very importantly, keeping your head what they call a little ambiguously behind the ball, which means more over your right foot than your left one. It doesn't mean that you have to keep your weight over here, but your head definitely until the ball is gone. Now, I would suggest that you go slowly for a while and actually try to hit slow, high balls to the left. Get used to that being a release, and then go harder. And going harder will actually make it go straighter and only draw a little bit, which is, I think, going to be a good pattern for you. Now, obviously, your aim is going to be a part of this. Ball position, tee height, they're all going to be adjusted as a consequence, but this is a good start. And let me know how it goes.